What is going on, Laker fans, NBA fans out there? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Got a couple topics that I want to get into, so why not do a quick little episode here? I got my radio show a little bit later tonight, so that's coming up here, but I wanted to squeeze one of these in for YouTube. So thank you for being a part of the show. If the first time you've been part of the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you're back here and you're already subscribed, thank you for your support of the channel. I greatly appreciate that. Two things I want to get into. And both of these, I think actually kind of some juicy topics, to be honest with you. Lakers and the Knicks expected to have interest, or Lakers and Knicks expected to interest Giannis Antetokounmpo. I want to go back and read an article that came out late last week, and then something that Mark Stein put in his Substack, so I'll spend a little time on that. Maybe Giannis is ready once his contract is over to get in one of these big-time markets. Obviously, LA and New York accomplished that goal. And then the other topic I want to get into, Charles Barkley does not think the Lakers are close unless something specific happens. So we'll get into that as well. So, again, thank you for being a part of the show. We'll jump right into it. Lakers and Knicks expected to interest Giannis. So last week there was a story on Giannis Antetokounmpo, which I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this. I love when players who've got real juice, who have really, and there aren't too many teams or there aren't too many players that have this type of juice, that truly, truly have the juice of, hey, you got to figure out your stuff here, because if you don't figure it out, I might walk and go somewhere else. I like when the players use their power against the franchises. Now, we've seen it. LeBron in Cleveland, really LeBron anywhere he's been, but there's some real players out there that want to make sure, if winning is the top of their priority, they want to make sure that that team, that franchise, have their I's dotted, have their T's crossed. Yes, or last week there was a story in the New York Times, and I'm going to read a little bit of it, and then I'm going to get to what is the latest of it, is the Lakers and the Knicks could potentially be part of the mix here, but this is what the interview in the New York Times, it was with Tanya Ganguly, who used to actually be a part of the LA Times. She used to cover the Lakers, so we used to run into her a lot. She said, next summer, it said, this is what Giannis said. Next summer, it would make more sense for both parties. Even then, I don't know. I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going for a championship. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And if I don't feel like that, I'm not signing. Giannis right now is about to get into his third season. This upcoming year will be his third year of a 5-year contract. His contract does include a player option after next year. So technically he can get out in 2 years. But you guys know this. That doesn't usually happen. Usually what happens is if a star player starts saying, hey, I want out, then a team is most likely to trade him than waiting for his contract to expire. I'm going to read one more quote from Giannis, and then I'm going to tie in the Lakers and the Knicks in just a second. This is what Giannis said. He said, at the end of the day, I feel like that all my teammates know and the organization knows that I want to win a championship. As long as we're on the same page with that and you show me we go together to win a championship, I'm all for it. The moment I feel like, oh, yeah, we're trying to rebuild, there will never be hard feelings with the Milwaukee Bucks. So kind of continues to say, kind of goes into a couple different quotes there. At the end of the day, being a winner, it's over that goal. Winning a championship comes first. I don't want to be 20 years on the same team and don't win another championship. So, Giannis, listen, I mean, this one kind of came out of nowhere for me. I do know that if you go look at that team, if you go the team that the Milwaukee Bucks have, they certainly have some aging players. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez are all in their 30s. By the way, that doesn't mean that they still can't compete for a championship. They've had Middleton and Brook Lopez have had some injuries as of late. So Giannis putting on some pressure to the Milwaukee Bucks. I'll say this. I have not had the perception of the Milwaukee Bucks at all over these last handful of years or so that the Milwaukee Bucks don't have interest in winning. Feels like the Milwaukee Bucks definitely are in a win now mode. And oh, by the way, they did win an NBA championship. They beat the Phoenix Suns. What was that? A couple years ago in 6 games, I want to say it was. Phoenix jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Milwaukee won 4 games in a row. So Giannis already has a chip. But for Giannis, and one of my favorite quotes of, some of these articles that I was reading right there, one of my favorite quotes is when he says, I don't want to be 20 years on the same team and don't win another championship. Basically, what he's saying is, I'm not looking for one ring. If Dirk is a good example of a player that won one championship, stayed with a team for 20 years plus, he's not looking to be Dirk. And plus, he got a championship so early in his career. I'm sure, obviously, the goal of wanting to win, that's the most important thing to him. But I go back to something I just said. I really haven't got the perception that, they're not interested in winning. And I'm talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. But this is what you do when you have power and you actually want to win. You flex that power. And he does have power. And he is putting the full court press on the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, this is cool. We got one. I'm not trying to settle at one. And the rebuilding process, whatever it is, which again, I go back to it. I don't think they're trying to rebuild, but this is more looking big picture. He knows he's going to be there next year. He's going to be there the year after that. So basically what he's saying, over these next 2 years, show me that we're still competing for championships. Maybe got another one over the next couple of years, and I'll sign an extension with you guys. But until that happens, I don't want any promises or guarantees. Now, this, according to Mark Stein, the Knicks and Lakers are being mentioned as possibilities, according to Mark Stein. Let me read what else that Mark Stein put in here. Let's see what else we got here. I want to make sure it's the exact thing, because I saw something specific from Mark Stein, and he does a great job on Substack, and he continues to absolutely shine when it comes to just his reporting. But I'll read it here on his Substack. Lakers and Knicks are already being mentioned as franchises presumed to interest Antetokounmpo down the road if he does decide to leave the Milwaukee Bucks. I saw something here from Kurt Helin on Basketball Talk. Lakers, Knicks in line if Giannis Antetokounmpo ever decides to leave the Bucks. Tell you, there's a couple things here to do if you want to garner some attention if you're Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you're a star player, there's 2 ways of doing it. Or one. I said A, and then I put my finger up as 1. That makes no sense at all. Number 1, the first thing you do is go report something to the New York Times. You're not even going to your team or the franchise. No. I'll just go throw it on New York Times and have this big title of, will Giannis consider an extension in Milwaukee, or whatever the title is. That's the first thing you do. The second thing that you try to get out there into the ether is, the Lakers and the Knicks, those are the 2 franchises that, I may consider playing for. Just go find the two of the most powerful franchises. I think the Lakers much more powerful than the Knicks. One squad has actually won and has a resume of winning and has won multiple championships. The Knicks have not. So I'm always critical to the Knicks when it comes to that, but I know their popularity. But go take those 2 franchises and just put out there, and you know what? If he did go anywhere, those would be 2 markets that he would consider. I'm pretty sure people are going to run with those stories. That's enough ammo right there to get people to run with those stories. So ultimately, I think that this, for me, is more of Giannis Antetokounmpo really trying to get the attention of the Milwaukee Bucks and saying, go figure it out. You guys know exactly what I want, what I'm looking for. But on the Laker front, I will tell you this, the Lakers and the Knicks, I guess the Knicks have really kind of positioned themselves over the years to put themselves in a position where they can potentially go out there. They got enough assets. They have enough cap space. I saw this, that the Knicks, on top of their picks that they already have, they also own future first-round picks from the Mavericks, the Wizards, the Bucks, and the Pistons that they can make in a deal. So the Knicks certainly putting themselves in a position where at some point they could go big game hunting. For the Lakers, I think it's more about, okay, where's the franchise in 2 years? LeBron, I'm assuming, is no longer a Los Angeles Laker because he retired, or maybe he's playing with his son Bronny, so you can have potentially some cap space in a couple of years. I know they would move heaven and earth to try to bring Giannis to LA. And maybe Giannis just as simply put has done this. He said, I was in a small market for a large number of years, a good chunk of my career. I won an NBA championship. All right, let me go try another team and another franchise. Now, whether that actually happens in a couple years or not, I'm not sure. But I do know this, that is definitely worthy and has made a lot of noise, at least in the NBA front and in the basketball circles. If Giannis is talking, people are listening. And I thought those were some interesting comments. So, Laker fans, you could feel free to put the comments below. Is there anything to this? Is this just Giannis trying to make sure that he gets the attention of the Milwaukee Bucks? If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, can you position yourself in the next couple of years to try to go make a run at Giannis? So feel free to put all your comments here below. Lakers and the Knicks expected to interest Giannis. So I think that part is interesting to me. So we'll see what eventually happens on that front, but I found that to be interesting news. Charles Barkley, I don't think really believes in this Los Angeles Lakers team. Let me put it that way. And I'll tell you guys exactly what I'm referring to here. So, Charles Barkley, we'll find the exact quote here. I want to make sure I read the exact quote here. Was with Bill Simmons. So, I don't know if they're doing a podcast, whatever it was, but I'm going to read the quote from Charles Barkley. He said, "Sometimes when sports and the games are close, you are like, man, we are close, but the Lakers aren't." So this is Charles Barkley. Now, it will be interesting about all the stuff they did. As I said last season, it will come down to Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis, as much as I love LeBron, I said last season and 2 seasons before, the Lakers are not going anywhere if Anthony Davis is not an MVP candidate. The Lakers were lucky to have a great draw in the playoffs, but AD does not have a MVP caliber season. The Lakers are not going anywhere. Okay, a couple things here to take from that. First off, I don't like how he's discrediting what the Lakers accomplished last season, because to say that they got lucky or they got a great draw, they went 17-8 to get to the playoffs, right? 17-8 since the trade deadline to even have a chance in the playoffs. Took care of the Memphis Grizzlies in 6, took care of the Golden State Warriors in 6, and then got the Denver Nuggets. And, unfortunately, the Lakers got swept at the same time. They didn't get blown out in every single game, but they got beat. What draw exactly is he referring to? Because if what he's saying is, all right, the Nugget or the Memphis Grizzlies were not 100% healthy, I can see that. I understand that. But the Clippers also weren't healthy. The Phoenix Suns lost Chris Paul in their postseason run, and they had kind of issues within. Dallas Mavericks didn't even make the playoffs. Let's see, what team am I missing here? Sacramento Kings lost in 7 against the Golden State Warriors, who the Lakers ended up beating. I'm a little confused of what draw that he's talking about. You can only play the teams in front of you. If he's saying that they got lucky that they ended up a number 7 seed instead of a number 8, well, they put themselves in that spot because they won the first playing game. Listen, if they were the number 8 seed and they played the Denver Nuggets and they got swept like they did, I get it. It's a much different conversation. But I don't like just completely disregarding what the Lakers accomplished. They accomplished some great stuff. To go 17-8 since the trade deadline and then make a run to the Western Conference Finals, I thought was pretty damn impressive. And I have a difficult time. What makes him think that the Lakers can't grow from what they accomplished, right? The Anthony Davis piece, I think we've all been saying this for the last couple of years that, hey, Anthony Davis has to play MVP caliber basketball. Well, if he's told us 3 years in a row that he can't play MVP caliber basketball, then I think we should listen. I don't know how much that's going to change this upcoming year. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. For me, it's just more having him out there and having him be available. I still think the Lakers can make a run, even if Anthony Davis is not the top 2-3 best player in the NBA. Can he be top 7? Can he be a player that dominates on one side and is more consistent on the offensive end? Well, if he could be that, then we're talking. If he could be that, then I think the Lakers are probably in a pretty good position as we move forward. But the whole thing is the Lakers aren't close. They just got to the Western Conference Finals. And they're coming back this year with an Austin Reeves who was flourishing and making things happen and came off a really nice playoff series. Rui had a nice series. Gabe Vincent made it to the finals with the Miami Heat. D'Angelo Russell is basically your fourth, fifth best player on the team, so there really isn't all that much pressure on him. I feel like the Lakers can grow what they did last year. Now, I'm not going to – I do agree the competition's really, really tough again. And I think the competition, it's only going to get more difficult. So things like that can hurt the Lakers, but the whole AD is not if he's not an MVP candidate, I think we just keep saying that. And those who are watching the games every single day understand that he's probably just not going to be in that MVP conversation. First off, you have to play 65 games to be in that MVP conversation. Does somebody want to explain to me how he's going to play 65 games? I don't think that that's going to happen. So I think there's a lot that comes into play there. But I still think the Lakers can make a run if he's not a top 3, top 4 player in the league. And I only say top 3, top 4s because MVP candidates, right? Maybe you have your top 5 players or candidates, but really you only got a few guys that are competing for it. By the time you're 60, 70, by the time you're at the All-Star break, there's only a few guys that are really held into consideration for winning the MVP. So Laker fans, you agree with Charles Barkley or disagree on this one? I disagree. I don't like the whole they're not even close. They just got to the Western Conference Finals. It's very, very difficult to make a case that the Lakers are not close by getting to the Western Conference Finals. Okay, your comments below. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Lakers and Knicks expected to draw interest from Giannis if he ever left Milwaukee. And Charles Barkley, like I said, does not think the Lakers are close unless Anthony Davis has an MVP caliber season. I still think the Lakers are in the mix, and it doesn't have to be Anthony Davis having an MVP caliber season or top 3, top 4 in the league. Your comments below. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. One other thing, please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. We'll greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Laker fans. Thank you, NBA fans. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.